Hey guys, Rob Levin here, AgnosticUI again, and I thought I'd go over a little Vitepress thing. I'm doing the documentation here, and I've split up Agnostic's components into framework components, and I've got my little work in progress CSS components. And I started to notice that some of these documents, these pages are untenable. So if you look at these choice inputs, for example, a lot of rendered examples because there's variations on them, and then there's this huge code block. And I suppose if somebody really wants to figure out what's going on and is motivated, they can work with this. But this is pretty untenable and not great. What I'd prefer to have is one rendered snippet and then one rendered thing with the component and then the code snippet. And ideally even have the code snippet maybe dismissed and disclosable through or collapsed and using a detailed summary. And sure enough, in Markdown, which Vitepress uses, you can mix in HTML, and some of these examples are in fact doing that. And so let's see what this looks like. I actually have done this on another page here for the tables, which is similar. It's got a lot of different variations, and you can view the source and close it. And so I can go in here and kind of find, I want the hoverable guys, and then open and collapse that. So I like that pattern. I think it's a lot more digestible. And so going back into these guys, we're going to refactor just a few of them. We're not going to do all of them. I just kind of want to show you how this works. And I think Vitepress is probably pretty commonly used to document components, so this may be useful to you guys. So if we look at this part here in the editor, these are just rendered. So I'm basically going to duplicate this and then put it in a code fence, which looks like this. And then I just close it there and save. Let's just make sure that's happening. Okay, so it's rendering this how often to email me, set of checkboxes, and then it's showing you the code you need to do that. But what I'd like to happen is I'd like that to be closed by default and then openable. So I'm going to just use the details, and I'm going to use Agnostic's global CSS classes for Disclose. If you're in React, Vue, Svelte, or one of these, there's actually a Disclose component, but we're in CSS right now, the Agnostic CSS package. So we're just going to apply those classes much like we would in Bootstrap or Zurb Foundation. And we're just going to say view source. And then if we save that, and then we want to close that tag here, you'll notice I put a space here on line 35. If you don't put that space, this'll barf. It doesn't know what to do with it. But if we look at the page, you can see now we have a nice button. Although I don't have my styles coming in, what is going wrong here? Disclose bordered is what I called that. So still not giving me what I would expect here. What am I doing wrong? Disclose bordered. Empty cache and reload. Let's debug. Disclose bordered. I see what I'm doing. So there's another missing thing. I'm supposed to say class equals disclose title. And now it'll look how I want it. There we go. Okay. So even as the author, I have to figure stuff out. So this is now using progressive disclosure, as I think the fancy term that we used to call this, or maybe we still do. Let's take this inline one here and do the same thing. We'll just do a couple more. I don't think we need to belabor this. So I'm going to take this because it's just going to be the same thing. And there's the rendered one, and here's the code snippet. So I've got my disclosure, guy going. I'm going to open my code fence and then come down here and close my code fence and close my details tag. And then there we see we've got these guys lined up. And you can see I've got some more work to do here, but look at this monolith. It's a lot nicer to just have these in here. So if you're doing component documentation using Vitepress, or probably a lot of other tools, consider using a progressive disclosure pattern with the detail summary. And if you're using Agnostic, try using these classes. It looks kind of nice. And these are, of course, tabbable too. So I can do this kind of a thing and tab into it, hit the space bar or return and do that. And that's about all I wanted to show for this.